Hey everyone, let's just get right into it. I know it's already been a while since my first video. I want to do my best with this channel, but it's also a side project. I only get to work on dolls when my main projects allow the extra time. Fortunately though, I do have some video I've collected of my very first dolls from quite a while ago, so I thought I could share that with you guys in between me finally working on a new doll. If you recognize this first clip from my last video, then good eye. The bulk of the dolls that I work with are secondhand. I salvaged from like thrift stores. Part of the fun for me is saving these old dolls and creating them into something new. So for this video, I'm sharing with you the second doll that I've ever completed, which used to be a strawberry shortcake doll. This doll's head is made of a harder plastic than the regular dolls I normally use, the Monster High dolls. And it made it actually a lot easier to work with, so I'm hoping I can find more of these shortcake dolls in the future, but I haven't found any since. Last video, I didn't show too much of the prep process as I'd already removed the hair and face on the head I was working with. I forgot to film removing the face this round, but here's a look at removing the hair. After cutting away all the hair as close to the scalp as I could, I cut into the back of the head to remove what's left from inside. Normally with a Monster High or Ever High After doll, I would take off the head after softening it up in hot water or heating it, and the plastic on this one was too hard to get the head off, so it was just easier to leave it on and go in from inside. And I was kind of surprised to see that this doll didn't have any glue holding the hair in place on the inside. Instead, it had this threaded pattern, which was nice because removing it was fairly painless. And then once that was all cleaned out, I just glue the head back shut with some super glue. Now, before we move on to the rest of the doll, I do want to tell you guys a little bit about the character I'm making. I did hint at it at the end of the last video. So the character I'm making is Kitaro of Gegege no Kitaro, which is a long-standing series or franchise in anime and in Japanese culture as a whole, because it originated back in, I think, 1960, if I'm looking at my notes correctly, originally as Kitaro of the Graveyard or Hakaba Kitaro, and it was created by Shigeru Mizuki. And it was really popular because it took the characters in the story are all very well-known Japanese yokai, which are spirits or monsters in Japanese culture. The main character, specifically Kitaro, is also a yokai, and he kind of, in the more recent iterations, he helps both yokai and human, wanting them to get along. In the original stories, he's a bit more of a mischievous character, but I'm very, very fond of this character. I've only recently gotten into this series. Last year in 2008 of April is when I first got into this series, because there was a new anime series that premiered, and there's been like an anime series every few years since as early, let's see. So the original mangas ran from 1960 to 1969, and then we had the first, I think, anime adaptation in 1968, and there's been, I think the current running one is the 7th series. So different generations have gotten to enjoy this character, and I'm coming into it pretty new. But I really love Kitaro's character. I was really enjoying the current anime run up until they hit this arc in the series where I feel like the story just plummeted. But there's a couple really cool episodes in the first few episodes. One with a ghost train that I feel really embodies this creepy, it's a fun, creepy story. It's a little dark for a kid's show, but I love it. I definitely recommend that episode if you're curious about this character in the series. I think it's a good episode that encompasses what I think this character is. Another one that was really fun to watch is the one with the episode with the kappa, which is another Japanese yokai that steal your shirikodama. And I'm not going to get into that, but that was a really fun episode. I do really want to make a Neko Musume, which is the cat girl character. to go with this Kitaro, but that'll be a future project. We'll see when that comes along. But let's get back to the doll. Okay, so after a couple of coats of sealant, it was time to start on the face. Using a light brown watercolor pencil, I sketched in the face, trying to go for a combination of like the most recent Kitaro and one of the older iterations, because I could see in one of the other versions he had a little bit of blue in his eye color, and I wanted to do a touch of that here. Between the layers of sealant, we also fill in the color, adding some blushing and little details. And I need to apologize, I wasn't and still not used to working while keeping in mind where the camera is, so here is my messy, unbrushed hair falling into frame constantly, and I'm so sorry. I'm so embarrassed, but it is what it is. Once the face was done, and we move on to the hair, and for this I was using acrylic yarn that I brushed out. I might show that process one day, but there's plenty of videos out there where you can see how it's done. So you just brush out the yarn, use a flat iron to get it nice and smooth, and then for this one, because the head was so, the plastic was so thick and hard, I decided that I would just glue the hair straight to the head. So starting along the bottom back and working my way up, I just layered the hair, cutting it to length and styling as I went. And I'm pretty happy with the end result, though I think I would have tweaked it a little bit if I was going to do it again. Next up was his clothes, which I would remake a couple of times since I had to figure out the pattern on my own. And this was my first time making a collared shirt, and especially on doll scale, I really struggled. But eventually it came together, and here I am gluing on some snaps for it. Then I mixed some Mod Podge with yellow paint and applied it in little dabs so those would look like buttons for him. I didn't realize the camera was out of focus here, so sorry guys. For his vest, I wanted a different texture, so I used some felt that I had and busted out my old needle felting needles. If you don't know what needle felting is, you use a special little barbed needle to blend pieces of felt together or roving wool. For some reason, while I was making this, my goal was to needle felt the black stripes on, and I don't know why in my mind I thought those stripes were like jaggedy, but they were actually just normal straight stripes. So I'm gonna remake this vest eventually, and you'll see another reason why I need to remake it in a moment. When it came time to finally dress him, everything was going great until it came time to put on his vest. I'd made it just too small, and I thought if I could get it on in the meantime it'd be fine. At this point I already knew I was remaking it, but then this point was really frustrating, but at least it was fixable, and I did that off screen. So eventually I was able to put everything on him, and finally all that was left was to do his sandals. Kitaro's sandals double as actually one of his trademark weapons, so I couldn't forget those. I used polymer clay to sculpt them out. At the same time I started sculpting the sandals, I started sculpting Kitaro's father, because there's no way I could leave him out. I didn't explain this character earlier, but Kitaro's father, or what's left of him, is this little eyeball character, Medame Oyaji, I think is his name. I just call him Oyaji, which pretty much means eyeball father. And it's from the corpse of his father, this little character emerged, and he's sentient, and he provides Kitaro with advice and and help, and is always there, and he's usually poking out of Kitaro's hair. I like to think that I think it's canon, but I haven't seen this because I'm still really new to the whole series, but I think he also hangs out in Kitaro's empty eye socket, because as you can see in the face-up, there was this hole, just a gaping hole that I was drawing for the other eye, and that's because as a baby, Kitaro was thrown and he lost his eye hitting it against a gravestone. It's a little dark, but that's probably why I love this character so much. Anyway, while sculpting the sandals, I was also sculpting Oyaji onto this sewing pin. And after baking all the clay, I used acrylic paint to do some coats on the sandals and to do a coat on the eye. I finished these sandals with a matte varnish, and then I put gloss on just Oyaji's head, or eye, yeah. Lastly, I drilled a hole into each of Kitaro's feet, and I strung some orange yarn through them. These would be the straps for the sandals, which I then glued to the bottom of his feet. And here is Kitaro and Oyaji both finished. Just gotta stick Oyaji into place. And all done. I'm really happy with how this character came out, considering it was my second doll. I really adore the character, and to celebrate his completion, I actually picked up this single cup of sake at my local Asian market. I forget the name of the brand, but it's this one is known for having artwork from the original manga on their labels, so I thought it was appropriate. And I don't drink too much, but I thought it'd be fun to sample this with my finished doll. And since I don't have any video of my very first doll, let me introduce to you Hikari, who I thought I would bring outside to enjoy the sun with us. The sake wasn't bad. I don't think I have the expert palette to describe it to you guys though, but it was nice to have a sip here and there as we took photos of the doll in my mother's garden. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I am still trying to figure out a proper way to record and produce these videos, so thank you for bearing with me. I hope that you enjoyed and stick around for the next video.